Hi lovely peeps. Been a while since I made a video. This was a bit impromptu, so there's probably lots of wind noise because I'm on the beach and it's pretty windy and chilly. But something just popped into my head and I thought, yeah, this is something that is worth clarifying if I can. So I was dealing with a client today, a lovely woman who's spent years in and out of relationships with abusive men, and she said several times that he was a narcissist, and I'm always a bit worried about people using that term narcissist. It's a term that's bandied about quite a lot, and so we spent this session trying to figure out, was he a narcissist or just an asshole? So, and that's a question a lot of people ask themselves when they're in difficult relationships, when they're not getting along with their partner, when their partner's messing them about. So, how do you distinguish between a narcissist and just somebody who's a bit of a selfish so-and-so? A narcissist, a true narcissist, is somebody who has a thing called a character disorder. So it's something they're born with, basically. A character disorder is different from a neurosis in that a neurosis is developed by life and by difficult circumstances, and it's the way life limits you by creating psychological problems. We all have them. Some of us outgrow them, some of us go into therapy to figure them out, some of us live with them and they're fine. So being a human being means that you have neuroses. Even some psychiatrists would say that the birth trauma is enough to give many of us neurotic problems, and they can show up in all different ways. But that's different from a narcissist who is born that way and chances are will remain that way. And those are the kind of people that you need to stay well away from in relationships, because here's the bottom deal: you won't win. And you think probably win's a funny word to use in a relationship, but you'll feel like you're in a battle. And first of all, you'll feel like you're in a battle with the other person. But the very tricky thing about a narcissist is they're so good at messing with your head and confusing you that you'll start to think it's not them that's the problem, it's you. That's where a narcissist does the most damage. It's not because they're difficult to be with or you're going to spend your entire relationship arguing. It's because they will wear you down into thinking that you're the problem, not them. And here's a few kind of signs that distinguish them from just people who are a bit arsey or a bit selfish. So the first thing is, you'll notice that all their conversations and activities are subtly or obviously built around them getting their way. It's really unfortunate, but that's how it is. It's not about you. It'll never be about you. That's really the big thing. That's what they're motivated by. Now, that doesn't mean that it's very obvious that they're just wanting, it's all about me. Another very insidious thing about narcissists is that they're very good at what they do. So you won't know, you won't have a 5-minute conversation with them and think this person's an asshole, they're just selfish, it's just themselves that they're interested in. No. You will think they're really lovely, they're charming, they're sweet, and they say all the right things, and you get led into a relationship then that you think they're lovely, because it'll all be the charm offensive and a very, very good performance And you won't know it's acting until the first big breakdown, the first big argument. You will come out of that argument thinking, what the fuck just happened? I went in feeling quite sure about what I was saying, and I came out thinking that I am to blame for everything that's ever gone wrong. I had a friendship, if you can have such a thing. Well, I thought it was a friendship with a narcissist. Thank God, never a full-blown relationship. But I had a friendship with a guy, and he messed with my head so much that whenever we disagreed about something, I ended up apologising. And if you find yourself apologising in a relationship for something that you didn't do, and you know in your heart is not your problem or your responsibility, you're probably with a narcissist. They will have made you feel that it's all your fault. The trouble with being with somebody like that, if it's a character disorder and they're born with that, is they're not going to change. And the older they get, the better they get at it. The less obvious it is, and the more it messes with your head. So you will end up probably to the point where you doubt yourself about everything. Your self-confidence will be eroded to hell. You'll not trust your own judgment in anything, because no matter how things go, this person, their main aim is to avoid all responsibility for everything. So if you're in a relationship with them, everything's going to be your fault. And the guy that I was had a friendship with had not only something that I had done that he completely vilified me for, instead of saying, yeah, that was too bad, sorry you did that, never mind. But he didn't take his part in the blame, and ended up blaming me for something that was nothing to do with me, that I hadn't even been involved in, and I wasn't even there. And I remember, him saying something like, well, if it went wrong, it's probably your fault. And I said, oh really? What about the Middle East? How are we with that? Was that my fault too? And that's the way you end up feeling. Is everything my fault? So when you're arguing with somebody like that, what'll happen is, if you have a genuine complaint about something that they've done or something they've said, and you bring it to them, they will turn it to make it look like they're the victim, not you. So you go saying, you really upset me last night, you were an hour late and you weren't very nice to my friends. So what will end up happening is that they will say something like, so that's the way you plan on making me feel? Do you like doing that to me? Do you like undermining me? Are you getting a kick from that? Do you like kicking me when I'm down? Yeah, you always do that, don't you? You're a bit mean like that. You don't have much forgiveness about you, do you? Right, so none of it will be about them and what they did and what they're responsible for. It'll always be messing with you to make you feel like it's your fault. And the worst and most destructive narcissists, unfortunately for everybody, are parents. Because as kids you believe them. If you say to a kid, well, you messed up, it's you that's wrong, and even when the child knows in his heart that it wasn't them, they'll still have to believe it, because mummy or daddy, or both of them sometimes, are demigods. They are just little gods, and the children have to. It's just kind of normal nurture that a child thinks that the world revolves around their parents, and their parents are always right. So if you've narcissistic parents and you've been damaged by them, come and see me, because we need to work on your self-esteem. And probably the same if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, come and see me and we'll get you out of it. And if you're in a relationship with a narcissist and you don't want to come into therapy, just walk away. Okay, do yourself a favor and just walk away right now. More later. Bye.